Hi everyone, I'm Trashika and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's been a while that I had a podcast. Last was, I think, 2, 3 years ago, and I have still not figured out a name. So happy to have any options or any suggestions that you send me in the comments, and I'll be happy to put a name to it.
Like a refined podcast, for example.
Maybe, why not? All right, so today on our podcast, my guest is Alexandra, and she's going to tell us a little more about herself and what she does. And over to you now.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexandra and I run an events and media brand called Nomad Summit together with my business partner. We are an events and media brand that is helping people scale in terms of their freedom in life, mainly focused on work freedom because we think that if you have a remote job, if you have income that can follow you everywhere, that is what essentially gives you the freedom of the lifestyle. That is the end goal. So we help people through our events and our resources to go from being a remote employee to being a freelancer or a consultant, to being a founder of the company, to being an investor, and eventually creating more freedom in your life through this journey.
Awesome. Thank you for that introduction. All right, so I have like a few questions that I've already given her, but we let the conversation flow as is and move around with the questions if we have to. So I know that your job is pretty seasonal, depending on the events that happen. But normally, when the season is on and when the season is off, like what does your week look like? Like what kind of responsibilities do you have during the week versus, when there is no season?
So just for a little bit of context, we have an annual event in Chiang Mai in Thailand. Every third weekend of January, we run our conference there. This is our lighthouse event, our biggest and main conference that people know us through. And we are also about to have our first event in Europe in July in Estonia. Outside of these times, we have a more like a off-season time. So we have a weekly podcast that is about to turn 1 year old in like a few weeks.
Nice.
And we haven't missed a single week, which we are very proud of. The workload and the type of work varies tremendously off season and on season. So off season, it's really quite chill, especially like when the one event wraps up and we post all the like post event communications, and then we can finally breathe out and take some time off and just go sit somewhere with a coconut under a palm tree to heal all the trauma that we experienced through the event. But on season, especially the couple of months before the event, this is when things get really, really crazy. And it's just me and my business partner that are the core members of the team. We now have a CTO as well since January, which we are very, very happy about. So at least there's someone to solve all the technical questions now. But besides that, it's just the two of us. And then we recruit a team of like volunteers or local coordinators for help with the event just for a month or 2 months, like before the event. Yeah.
Awesome. So like you said a couple of months before the event,
Yeah.
right? Awesome. So like is that when you start coordination with like vendors and who to hire, who to not hire, and who to reach out to from previous events?
Yeah, pretty much. Of course, we're still doing a lot of work like throughout the year.
Okay.
So even now, as I'm walking here and meeting new people at network school, for example, I am kind of spotting like, oh, this person could be an interesting speaker, and this person could be like our future podcast guest or something like that. And we keep in touch with the vendors because a lot of them have become our friends as well through our work together. But the main nightmare, let's say, is the time, that like 1 or 2 months before the event, because this is the time when we are usually there in person. So both me and my business partner are digital nomads, and we are constantly traveling around the world. And we try to be in the location of the event like around 2 months before, so that we can do all on the ground preparations. And these are the preparations that take the most time and are the most intense. This is when we need to coordinate with all the like local spaces for our side events, for example, because we have our main conference and then we have a week of side events, which is the time where our attendees host their individual like smaller events all around the town. So we have to coordinate all the partnerships with all the venues. We have to get all the decorations for the event and all the merch printed.
So everything
like these
happens
t-shirts,
before
for
that.
example. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. A lot of things, and we are always trying to add more and more cool stuff to our events and be very creative with things. So, for example, this year at our Chiang Mai conference, we had badges that were printed in the form of, in the shape of puzzles that could actually match together.
Oh,
And like if all our attendees stood in the line, they could form a circle with all the badges like perfectly matching together.
nice.
Yeah, so we always try to come up with something creative like that, but of course that takes additional effort in terms of preparing the materials and making the files print ready and finding vendors that can actually do that. We try to do as much stuff as possible locally. So if our event is in Chiang Mai, we try to work with the local, like small businesses. But if that is not possible, then we would outsource that to, like, let's say China or whatever. And then all the like hotel preparations as well, the venue preparations. This is also the time when most people sign up. So I think this is a kind of a character of the digital nomad community, that people have some kind of commitment issues, and everyone is afraid to plan long term. So most our ticket sales also happen like just before the event. So yeah, this is absolutely the time where like everything is happening.
Awesome. So like right now you have an event coming up, right?
Yeah.
So like what is taking the most amount of time for you right now?
For me right now, I would say the social media stuff is
The promotions.
yeah, the promotions, the marketing. My business partner is in charge of sponsorships and partnerships, and my main responsibilities kind of fluctuate from event to event. So I did the program at our Chiang Mai event, for example, but then for this next event, we are partnering with another organization, and the woman from that organization is the one creating the program because she has more insights into this specific community that we want to dab in with the next event. So I will take more of the marketing side of things and then everything else that needs to be done. But I think, yeah, marketing and social media, because it has to be done like daily and all the time, and you always have to kind of stay on top of that.
Yeah.
That is definitely something that is taking a lot of time and effort and space in my head.
Interesting. So like it's been a while you have been doing these events, right? These events. So like what all other things that you don't rely on your memory for? Like, things that have just been happening so much that you have maybe like listed them out, or that vendor, that okay, that vendor knows everything. We have worked with them for a very long time, so they just can handle it. So just like a few things that you don't have to rely on your memory for.
For example, everything social media related that is content creation based on the content that we already have, that is outsourced to our to a girl who's called AP. So she was our local coordinator in Chiang Mai she's native Thai, and she helped us with all the vendors and all the communications. And we really wanted to continue working with her because she's amazing. So we gave her the job of like once per week we post on social media new podcast episode snippets, and we also post snippets from our keynotes from the conference.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are like 2 social media posts that we do every week that both require basically going to watch the presentation or listen to the episode and finding like the nicest, most interesting or intriguing moment to cut from there, and then put it into a template for social media, and then share it on social media. So that is outsourced to her. And when we are preparing for the event, so back to the on season phase, we do have people that we have worked with last year and this year that have proven their reliability and expertise. So we have, for example, a party manager that is organizing intern at least. She's organizing all our parties. So everything that is party related, we outsource to her. But now, as we are coming to Tallinn with our next event, I'm not sure how it's going to be because we don't have this like proven partnerships and proven people there yet because it's going to be our first event in Tallinn. So I can imagine there will be more juggling and more figuring things out for the two of us.
So, like, what kind of structure has over the time helped you, function better? Like, maybe it's like think about the first vendor you had, and you had to explain to that vendor that, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. And if you have any questions, you can, like, maybe, I don't know, email me or WhatsApp me or just like speak to me in person. So, like, what kind of structure is there? A structure at all which is created, or like a structure which is, like mutually discussed upon, or something which, depends upon the new person who's coming, and then you can coordinate with them?
Yeah, I think that comes a lot to just relationships.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would definitely say that relationships is what makes our business run because events are essentially like pulling a lot of strings together. And building a good relationship with anyone that you're working with is something that helps to move the wheel forward and make things easier year by year as you continue doing it, especially if it's in the same location. So there's definitely a lot of focus on that, but I wish that we had more systems in place that would help us onboard new people easier and just kind of oversee everything easier because we do like to trust people and give people full ownership of the parts of the event that we delegate to them, like with parties, for example, or with printed materials, or with any aspect. But first of all, we still get a lot of questions coming back to us as we are the ones most in charge, let's say. So everything that is like budget related or any, I don't know, small things that are to be discussed, they all flow back to the two of us. So for the two of us, it's like, it's crazy. Because we delegated 10 things to 10 different people, but then we still have 10 different people coming back to us with all the questions, and we still have our stuff to work on. Yeah, and especially for the new teams and new members and onboarding them and making it easier for them to pick things up quicker because of the seasonality of the industry. Like we don't have a month or 2 months to spend on onboarding a new person because we in the end we only work with them for a month or 2 months. So the onboarding has to be very much compressed to make sense for them and for us to not waste anyone's time.
Awesome. So, like, is there any routine that you have that, okay, let's say that, okay, I understand that you have 2 months which you have kept, and I think this is through the experience that you have realized that, you need at least 2 months to prepare for the event, right? So, like, have you tried to systemize it that, okay, maybe in 1 week I will finalize the speaker, in the other week that I will finalize the venue, and the next week maybe the party organizer? Like, has it been any, like, inside the event? I understand that it could be a chaos because a lot of things happen, but like before that, for the two of you to coordinate with each other, do your own work, and also like delegate it to people who will do their own work. So, like, is there a structure that you have ever tried on?
I think for the parts of the responsibilities, yes. So, for example, for the program, I was in charge of the program for the last event, and I had my Google Sheet with everything there. So I was definitely very structured with it, with grabbing all the applications and also putting all the people that I am contacting and trying to headhunt to be our speaker, putting them in the sheet, and then like assigning the status, accepted or rejected or in the process of talking to them and so on. So that, yes. And that was a system mostly just for me because I was the one doing all the programs. So I didn't really need to coordinate this with anyone. And I can imagine it's pretty much the same with what Christoph, my business partner, does with sponsors. So he also has the Google Sheet where he puts all the information and on which stage we are and who paid what and who hasn't paid what. So in this like individual little things, we do have certain basic systems in place, but I haven't succeeded with putting like a general event management system, even though I briefly tried.
Okay.
Not too persistently, but I tried, but I have not succeeded.
So, like, when you're working with a lot of vendors, like, how do you coordinate with them, or how do you overlook, the work that they have done, or if they have done it correctly, or, like, just like to monitor what's the progress, what's happening. So, how is it that the coordination, you do it with them?
So this is the part that we try to outsource as much as possible to other people. Like, for example, in terms of vendors, everything party related was delegated to our party manager. So whatever was discussed regarding the party decorations, music, drinks, whatever, that was her responsibility. And we try to tell people, like, you are in full control of this. Like, just do what you think is best. We trust you. Okay, maybe we have this budget, so that is set. But everything else, like, it's on you. Do it as you think is best. Do not ask us. Because we're trying to, like, push away as many responsibilities as questions away from us as possible. This is the same with all the, for example, printed materials in terms of merch and in terms of hotel decorations and so on. This was something that we outsourced to our local coordinator, AP, and in the same manner, like, do as much as possible on your own, only come back with important questions. And then, yeah, the way that we manage that is just through WhatsApp or Slack, which is also a bit of a mess because we're trying to do everything in Slack, but then Slack is very formal. So if you just have a quick question through the day, of course, you're gonna send it on WhatsApp. So half of the communications end up there and half there, and it's all very scrappy. It works well, but I can imagine there might be a better way to do it eventually, perhaps as we do it more times or as we keep having more consistent team members in each location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, like, yeah, I know you are a graphic designer, and that's what you were practicing, and then now you are into events, and you are in the creative business, right? So, like, and then doing this systemized way, because if there is an event, there is a deadline, right? There's
Yeah.
definitely a deadline. So, like, do you think these systems restrict your creativity? Because, like, I understand that, when you get into the creative zone, it's just like it can flow for as long as you want, or like, do you like that there's a deadline and we have to refine on the go and just like present it instead of being a perfectionist, or just like being the worst critic of yourself?
Yeah, I definitely think that systems inspire creativity and give more space for creativity because, first of all, they organize mess. And it's very hard to be creative in a mess, I think. Like, it's very distracting, right? Like, the more systems you have in place, the more time and mental energy you have to spend on creative things. I would say that's absolutely true. That doesn't even need to be discussed because if 90% of your stuff is like automated and running or outsourced and systemized, then you can actually focus on what is most important, which is the thinking, the strategy, the vision, right? Like all the human things that make your business like go forward. And the second thing is, I think we all know about there's this expression like the fear of the white sheet, which is when you need to start a creative task. Imagine you're a writer and you want to write a new book. So you take your sheet of paper or you open a Google document, and the hardest part is to start where you have the empty sheet in front of you, and you're like, oh my God, what's going to be my first sentence, my first words, because like after you have started, you're kind of just going with the flow. And I think systems is something that in my designer career helps a lot to start things, because if you have a process that you're following to start things, like, okay, do a research on competitors, let's say, make some mood boards, find some references, put that all onto Canvas, and then bring the content that you need to design around to the Canvas, and then you already kind of have like 10% of the project done, let's say, and that's you are already in the process of creating, and then it eliminates the white sheet that you don't know what to do with, like, where do I even start?
I think that's what the writers call it, as the creative block.
Yeah.
Because, you open it, and if there's nothing, like, none of the thoughts that they can structure it in a way that, they would start to write. Like in your case, that, okay, you have to, let's say, create a brand strategy. So, like, at least there's a mood board to start. That, okay,
Exactly.
put everything, like the client's input will also come there, and then you can take it from there and just, like, move forward. So there is like a step-by-step thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in general, like, if you have a system, you know exactly what you need to do at which point, right? So you don't need to think about it. You don't need to keep figuring it out every time. You just have this as a plan in front of you, and you're like, okay, today I'm doing this, tomorrow I'm doing that. And you can invest all of your mental energy into actually doing the task instead of thinking what you need to do.
So, like, how much of your business right now depends on you? And, like, how much do you think, like, even if the system does not exist, let's say, but, like, how much do you think can be delegated completely without your input with the right system? And, like, how much of it will still depend on you?
Talking about the events business, I think that everything strategy related and vision related and relationships related is very heavily dependent on me and my business partner, and will always be. Like, it's very hard to outsource these things, and the more I grow older and the more business experience I have, the more I realize how much relationships matter, and that they actually, like, relationships are what matters the most. Like, you can have an incredible website, an incredible offer, value proposition, but then someone else has that 10 times worse but has good relationship with 10 potential clients. They're probably going to work with a second person.
Very true.
So this is something that cannot really be outsourced that much or delegated, but I think there must be a way to still systemize it in a way, like systemize networking, systemize how you build those relationships. I want to believe there's a way to systemize that. And then everything operational, I think, is what can be systemized and delegated and replicated by even different people in the future potentially.
Yeah, makes sense. Like, even like off the back of my head, what I can think is that, if you want to nurture those relationships, maybe you can send them like a monthly newsletter or like a monthly update on where you are and what you're up to, just to like be in touch with them and let them know that, okay, we are still around, and we are doing this, we are doing that. So, like, if tomorrow you need some help, or just like want to have a conversation, it's not like, okay, I haven't spoken to that person in a while. It will be awkward to like start a conversation now. So that kind of structure, we actually can set up. That's definitely for sure. But and also the initial bit of it, that where to find those people, and how to document it, that's also can be done. But like, I think the initial one where you said that teams do need or do depend on you, like, just to finalize the speaker and like start that relationship, that is human touch completely. But that can also be structured in a way, like, what kind of conversations you should have, like, for the starter, like, what kind of hobbies or they are pursuing or something like that, which helps you connect with them more. And we don't think about it as much, because when we meet somebody in person, it just comes so naturally. We can just talk about anything and it just goes. But like, especially online, it's just a blog that, okay, what do we talk about? And if we just talk about work, it's just like one aspect of our lives. And we will build that business relationship, but like, if we want a long lasting one, they need to know about a little bit of our personal life, or like our hobbies, and likewise with them as well. Interesting.
Yeah, I once heard this very good tip, I think, that when you start a business call, the first thing, like, the first phrase is like, hello, how are you? How's your day going? Especially when you don't know the person at all, try to say something substantial about your day, like, oh, my day is going great. I just came back from swimming in the pool, or like, I just came back from the gym, or I don't know, I just dropped my kids at school, or like, give them something that they can actually properly reply to or relate to, or at least like give a little like sneak peek into your life instead of just saying, yeah, I'm fine and how are you? Because then like you just cut the, like, you don't give them any context and the conversation starts so dry, like, hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. Okay, let's now talk about work. It's awkward.
Yeah, true. And I think that is a part of a structure, right? Like, to make sure, like, in the first few sentences of you talking to them, you're actually giving them a context of where you are and what you are doing currently and what does your life look like currently.
You're starting a more normal human conversation instead of keeping it like a very formal corporate business call in a way. And that's what you need, right? Like, I think the problem with building relationships with people online is that it's missing that human touch that in-person connections have, and perhaps that is how it helps. Yeah.
Awesome. So, like, okay, I have another question. So, what's the one thing you keep repeating in your business during the events or like before the events that you would definitely want to be systemized? I know, like, we spoke about this earlier, but like, there's this one thing that, people keep coming to you asking for questions, and like, those can be repetitive, really. So, that is one. If you have any other things that you want badly to be systemized, that okay, I don't want to deal with it now. It's just done.
Yeah, I think if we talk about the preparation for the event, it's again all the social media stuff that I know that can be now systemized with AI in a way. It just perhaps AI hasn't reached my standards of things, especially in terms of graphics and like how things should look visually. And there's a lot of work that I just complained to you earlier today, I think, that I have to always go through all the photos and pick like, okay, which of these photos do I actually want to use for this post and this post and this post, because I don't know if AI can do that, like automatically detect which photo will be the best. And I want the photo to be somewhat relatable to what I'm writing about in the post, right? So, and if we talk about the during the event thing, that's definitely attendees' questions, which is that is where me and my business partner get completely overwhelmed, because we have this 250 people all knowing us as the main brain behind the company. So whenever they have a question, they prefer to ask us instead of asking one of the volunteers, let's say, even if we encourage them to ask the volunteers instead. And then we always try to be very approachable. So we try to build our brand from a very much down-to-earth community kind of perspective, and not be those like figures on the pedestal somewhere far away that are just like controlling everything, but then like go away after 5 minutes of our speech on stage. And in a way that is like shooting ourselves in the leg, because we are so approachable, but then we don't have time to actually talk to someone and have a human conversation, because at any point of the day we have like 10 people queuing up to ask us something. And I guess we are trying to systemize that with having like an attendee FAQ portal, and we printed a QR code for that on the backside of the badges, for example, so people always have like easy access. But it still keeps happening, and there's always like unpredictable questions, or questions about something that never happened before, or just some people who prefer to ask in person instead of going and checking the information online.
So like, okay, if this workload that you have, if it doubled in the next few years,
I would go
let's say.
crazy. I would quit and I would move to Nepal and live in the mountains and not see a single human ever again.
Yeah, like I think it would get very difficult. So right now, how many attendees do you have like per event?
We had around 250 at the last event.
So like let's say 500, 600, and then all of them, or maybe even like let's say 500 of them, they come to you and ask you for questions. That will be a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna have nightmares tonight just thinking about this.
So like, okay, this will get definitely difficult, but like, what are the few things which you have improved from, let's say, previous years that you saw it coming and then now you have improvised it and now it's better?
Website. That
Okay.
was our huge breaking point at the last event, especially because we played with currencies and we broke something that was working better before, but then it wasn't working at all at the last event. And after the main conference, as I said, we have Nomad Week, which is a time with like more than 50 side events in the week. And everyone has to register for those side events through the website, and that wasn't working. So you can imagine how many people, well, it was working for like 50% of people and then wasn't working for 50% of people. And thankfully, we had an amazing guy called Peter helping us figure this all out after what he was promoted to being our CTO. So now we have a CTO and we have completely rebuilt our website. We have just launched a new website a week ago that is completely rebuilt after this experience, after we had to manage so many technical issues and build with this, from the ground up with functionality in mind, being very customizable and hopefully working properly so that at least we don't have the technical aspect of things on our shoulders with questions and problems during the event.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Like, ideally, what would you think, if like everything worked, like it was the ideal world, how would your business work?
I would definitely ideally want to have that big project management overview of all the things because I feel like we're really missing that. I had that with a previous events company that I worked with that had, first of all, a more stable team and a less of a seasonality because just because of the way the work was arranged. So with that company, we had 3 events per year, and this was a full-time job for the founder and for some of the people on the team. Whereas with Nomad Summit, both for me and for my business partner, this is more like a passion project in a way now that is bringing some income, but it's not our main business. So with that previous team, I had an Asana project set up where I would coordinate everything, and I really like to stay on top of things and have a better overview. And I wish that I hope that we will set this up for Nomad Summit eventually as well. Because that is just gives you more like confidence and clarity and security that things are going on track. And perhaps even with the parts that we are outsourcing to different people, we can figure out a way to like onboard them quickly or set up some project management system that will be comprehensive but yet easy to use. So it doesn't need like more than a day of onboarding and actually figuring it out. And I don't know, now with AI, maybe there's a Telegram bot that we can set up where like someone can just send an update and it can like automatically update the status of the task on the board or something like that. Yeah, perhaps we need to think more on that side of the AI things and how to make it easy and convenient enough for everyone to use for it to actually be used. And I think, so once I have that, then I feel like I have so much less things to juggle mentally and I can focus better on the creative part of things, on the human relationships part of things, of the business, and all the things that are more important for my specific role as the co-owner. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah. I think there will always be a few things that are dependent on you and a few things you are doing because there's no better way found yet. Right? But Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this being here and like sharing your views. And I loved having you here. The conversation naturally flowed. I was just checking. It's almost what, like 30 minutes that we are here, and we didn't even realize. So it's a very very good um, good point that we did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. And we didn't need to follow the structure with all
Yeah.
the questions.
Okay, but the structure helped. Yeah.
Yeah, it helped. It helped. Yeah.
Awesome.
It was there to catch us in the hard moments.
Yeah, true. Like, so that the conversation is not deviating too far from the topic. But all right, so now we are on our last segment, wherein I already spoke to her. So she can ask me a question which is about her business, about Nomad Summit, or maybe about her graphic designing, anything which she would like me to systemize, or she wants to have a purview of how it could be systemized. So yes, open to you now.
Well, I guess the question is very much based on my last answer.
Mhm.
How do I set up that project management system that uh, takes into consideration our seasonality and different people on board and the kind of like comprehensiveness of it in a way that we have this like subtopics to manage, but then I personally at least want to still have the grand overview of things. And how to create it in a way that is comprehensive and yet still easy to use and easy to onboard people on.
I think having a project management tool is difficult, because especially when we are working with vendors, and for a limited time, so it just gets difficult for them to understand the tool first and then understand the business, and then like onboard themselves into the business. So that is something that I will not suggest. But systemizing is much different from having a tool in place, right? So systemizing is not necessarily about any tool. It could be like a Google Sheet, it could be like a Google Doc, or like just a recording of you talking to them, that, okay, this is what we do and this is how you onboard yourself. So I think like there were a few things that you mentioned that keeps coming back to you. One of them was FAQs. So, maybe you could have like a document, just like the QR code you said for the attendees, maybe a QR code for all the people you're onboarding. That, okay, the FAQs, which, the attendees ask us, you can answer them. Like if there are emails coming to you, similar emails that, okay, how do I do this? Oh, I paid, but I want to have a refund or something like that. Maybe you could have like this email.
I could have a whole new conversation about just systemizing emails. Our mailbox is like,
yeah, because I'm guessing that happens. People register, they want a refund, or like they are struggling to find a hotel nearby, everything is booked, or their flight got cancelled, or they got sick, or there are n number of things that go wrong, right? But like you could, like, of course we can't systemize everything in one go, but at least it will be a good start. To have those templates set, so that even like I don't want you to do that, because like if you're saying the email list is this long, then that becomes your full-time job, to respond to all the emails, and because you do want to respond to them, because they are the people who paid for the event, but you don't necessarily need to respond. Like somebody else can respond on your behalf. So for them, you can create that structure. And so one of the things was that, and the other thing is that let's say you want to give them an orientation of the event. Instead of having like a checklist or like having that on a tool, you can just talk to the camera. Because I'm guessing like each person you onboard, you have like a meeting with them, 30 minutes meeting, or like a Zoom call that, okay, this is what we do, this is the event about, the attendees are this much, and things like that. So maybe you could record it, and like every time you onboard somebody, just like send them that, okay, this is an overview, if you have any questions, just like write it down, and then maybe I'll answer you right away for now, but like I'll update that video for our next event. Right? So everything, like the feedback, just improves your process, it's a loop, and it's good for you because like the events keep happening frequently.
Yeah.
That's good for the business as well. So
certainly.
yeah, we can definitely systemize that. And yeah, the project management tool, I think the Excel that you're talking about for yourself, it's good. And each time, okay, let me reframe that. I think so for each of the tasks that you have in the event, right? You can write it down. So let's say you still hired um, a person, let's say, tell me any of the vendor that you would hire for the event, like any volunteer.
I don't know, someone to deal with printing t-shirts.
Okay. So let's say you gave them the print that, okay, this is what we want to print, right? Instead of having their set of steps that, okay, today they will receive it from me and tomorrow they will give it for print, the third day, they will check if everything is fine. You just mentioned that, okay, on the fourth day, I should receive it. So like not from their point of view, but from your point of view. So when you open that Excel sheet, you see that, okay, today the date is this, I should have received. Let me call them, right? And if you have received, check. So instead of depending them to tell you about, if it is done, if they do it proactively, great. But like even if they don't, at least you have it at the in the sheet and not at the back of your head that I should have received this by now.
Yeah.
Why is it not done? Right. So just like have all of their tasks for yourself, for your list that, okay, these are the things I'm responsible for, even though somebody else is doing. But like these are the things that I know should be done by this due date.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. At least a simple Excel sheet, Google sheet.
Yeah, I would not suggest like going very heavy on a project management tool for now, really.
Yeah.
Because it's a job in itself.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a job not appreciated when you have to be the one going to everyone and like, hey guys, please use this.
Yeah.
Please, can you update your task? Please update status. Please don't write to me here. Just send an update inside the tool. And then, yeah, it's just pointless.
True. So like you can just like, instead of asking them, you can just like ask them, okay, is it done? Like, okay, cool. Okay, this is done from my end. Just like a check on your list. Right. So you have everything documented and they are free to do it in their creative way, however they want.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. The internal FAQs, let's say, with some onboarding, let's say, videos or documents, we have to think what would be the most engaging content for people to actually like read or watch, and not just ask us all the 20 questions that they could have gotten their answers to from the FAQ. And yeah, so basically a project management sheet that just makes sense for me, just for my own peace of mind and clarity. Yeah, I think yeah, that makes a lot of sense instead of trying to convince the people who will only need this for 2 weeks to use it.
True, and especially when they're volunteering. Especially when they are volunteering. So yeah, it just doesn't make them it just doesn't make sense for them to understand a tool altogether for them.
Yeah, awesome. Totally. Thanks a lot. Thanks for those tips. Yeah, definitely
gonna use them. Awesome. So this is the end of our video. I hope you like it and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.